Real quick, my entire channel demonetized because 1 minute Nico Arc video. If you like video, support on Patreon. If you or someone you know can help, here, email, enjoy video, or else. Hey gangsters, as in like gangsters, as in like, you know, gangsters of the homosexual persuasion. Today I want to yap about a character I designed for my fighting game Work Strike called Pajama Man. If you don't know it, Work Strike is a fighting game I chip away at every now and then. It's based in an infinitely ascending eldritch skyscraper where you fight as its workers and denizens, ranging from a samurai accountant who slashes the budget to a vending machine. Pajama Man, while being the 5th character I got in working order, was actually the 2nd I began to develop. The reasons why I want to talk about him today is that the puzzle that was working out his gameplay racked my heads, plural, for months. But when it finally clicked, me and my playtesters found him to be the funnest character in the game. But let's first introduce Pajama Man. He is known as the narcoleptic brawler. The tower has not treated Pajama Man kindly. His condition makes it nigh impossible to work consistently, and his employers make no considerations for him. However, one day his department head was laid off, making his employment unknown to upper management, while still being on the payroll. Doubting he'd be rehired in his condition, he does his best to hide his existence in the tower. For if anyone discovered his identity and defunct role, his only source of survival may disappear. Thus, he takes up the persona of Pajama Man, breaking noses to keep his way of life. He's someone who hates his condition. Because of how the world has treated him, he's unable to accept it as a part of himself. He pushes himself beyond his limit to try and overcome his ailment. Unable to accept his limitations, and in a world that does nothing to accommodate him, Pajama Man is left full of fury and paranoia. This concept is our starting point for his gameplay. My idea for his playstyle was that he switches between a brutal offense and a wavering defense. He would have incredible offensive pressure with crazy combos as he pushes himself beyond his limit, riding the anger he builds up inside himself. However, this fatigues him during the fight, hampering his offense and forcing him onto the back foot. My initial plan was to have 2 stances, an awake stance at low fatigue and a drowsy stance at high fatigue. Awake stance you had a lot of plus moves and heavy pressure, and in drowsy stance your moves are weaker and have higher recovery. This plan though brought up 2 concerns. The first is that it probably wasn't good representation to have you kick your disabled rep's ass as soon as he gets tired. And the second is that characters who get weaker over the course of a match generally aren't as liked by players. It's more satisfying for a player to work up to a strong point. Getting punished for playing properly just feels frustrating. Therefore, I changed the plan so that awake stance was more offense focused, while drowsy stance was more defense focused. Neither being stronger than the other, just offering different playstyles. This brought up another concern though. Not only would 2 stances with their own animations be time intensive to make, but also it might be jarring to have your moveset switch up mid-fight. Not only this, but I wasn't sure how I wanted your fatigue to go back down, or whether it should at all. Not having it go back down would be more thematic, with him permanently wearing himself out for pushing too hard, but it would have less satisfying gameplay. The idea of a mid-fight snooze would allow it to function as a resource, but would be kinda goofy. I even had the idea that you'd abuse some kind of medication that would set your fatigue back, but permanently make fatigue build up over time, giving both management of your bar, but also you suffer permanent effects. But you see, this ran into a problem. By this point, I had already created his neutral attacks and a few special moves for his quote-unquote awake state. And unfortunately, his base gameplay was just too damn fun. His combos were crazy, his kit had nice variety, and the movement of his attacks made him feel so loose and free in his combat. I would just play him over and over again against bots, because his base playstyle was just that fun. Which then made me go, shit, I have to add a mechanic that makes this less fun. It took me a long time to work out, but the click finally occurred when I was talking to a fellow game developer. I just said, he's too fun to justify holding him back, which made me realize I was thinking about it all wrong. There shouldn't be 2 stances. Whatever this drowsy mechanic is, it should slot in to the existing kit, not be an entirely new one. Therefore, I opted instead for a dizzy state when reaching too high fatigue, similar to what you'd see in Street Fighter. Here is where I reached my final concern. You see, dizzy states kinda fucking suck. They are horrible. People don't want to be forced to stop playing the game mid-fight. Games are at their most fun when you are given decisions, agency. A punishment shouldn't deprive you of fun. It should be an opportunity for new, drastic play decisions. So here's what I came up with. Pajama Man builds up fatigue whenever he does a medium or heavy attack, and a big chunk whenever he does a special move. If he racks up too much fatigue, granted heavy attacks with no follow-ups or granted special moves forces Pajama Man into a short animation before going into dizzy state, meaning medium attacks and air moves do not trigger dizzy state. This was initially because making you go dizzy in the air would be kinda awkward, but it ended up giving it a less intrusive feeling. Whilst in dizzy state, you cannot attack or move conventionally, however you do have agency in this state. Whilst in dizzy state, you slowly drain your fatigue, so if you had time to spare, you could leave yourself in the dizzy state to manage your resources. In dizzy state, you can either stagger forwards, back, or perform a counter. Staggering forwards and back are low profiles, both recover a dollop of fatigue, but forward more so. The counter is very punishable if you miss it, but hitting it recovers a bunch of fatigue, giving a high risk, high reward option. These pieces together gives a consequence to Pajama Man pushing too hard, while still feeling engaging when triggered. You can even force yourself into dizzy state with your neutral special, allowing for a deeper level of fatigue control and utilization of its defensive options. Dizzy state gives you a variety of options for defense, but you have no way to attack, making you feel like you're on the back foot. The movement of stagger forward and stagger back makes you feel like a drunken styled brawler, wavering around the battlefield while delivering discombobulating blows. Like Pajama Man himself, if you push too hard, constantly go on the offense, you will find yourself kneecapped by your fatigue, combos getting dropped because you're forced into dizzy state. However, if you have proper management of your fatigue, weaving in staggers and counters where you can reap all the rewards of your brutal offense. I shared this around my trustworthy playtesters, and all agreed he felt fantastic. 4. So I suppose to make a point to this video, don't get stuck on your first idea. It's really easy to get bogged down in one way of thinking when designing, that it has to be a certain way to fit your prompt. But you should instead approach it like a puzzle. I had all the pieces there, the character concept, the already fun gameplay, and the vibe of their playstyle I wanted to get across. There is always a creative, engaging answer that hasn't been worked out yet with the puzzle pieces at hand. If you want to play Pajama Man for yourself, he's currently up on my Patreon in the pinned post. All you need to do is pledge. I hope you enjoy him, but if you hate him, then I'm deleting this video. Come back to a barren wasteland, and it's all your fault, you miserable fuck. Hello, real quick, a microscopic Chadling here. I just wanted to say, go check out eeper. He makes really good videos, and he did the music for my game, and he's awesome, and so awesome